All right, you're going to be making some painted papers today. So one method is called marbling. What you're going to do is you're going to be standing over at the counters, and each student will have their own station to work with. So first thing that you're going to do is you're going to fill the yogurt cup so it's a little more than halfway full, but you don't want to fill it all the way to the top. Then you're going to pour that cup of water into the container. Then you have this clear lid that has a piece of circle paper on it. Yours might be clean, but probably it's already been used. So you're going to take this little circle and you're going to stick that in the water, and then there's a paintbrush on this tray. You're using the back end of the paintbrush, not the bristles. You're going to sink that dot and then kind of move it back up to the top surface of the water. So this paper dot is what's going to allow your inks to float on the surface to get a print. So if your dot isn't going to come back up to the top, just tell me and I will get you another one for your tray. So sometimes when they've been used too much, this happens. So I'm going to see if I can get this one to stay, or I'm going to go grab one that's going to float a little bit better. Okay, actually switched one out for one that floats better, so I'm going to get rid of the one that's not floating anymore. Okay, so the circle is important. You have to have that on the top of the water because it makes your ink float. These are the 6 color options that you have to work with. You're going to work one color at a time, and you only do one dot of color. Now, this paper is like beige. It's not exactly white. If you want the paper to be one of the colors in the marble print, that's fine, and I'll explain that in just a second. So, I am going to start with a blue color. So what I'm going to do is unscrew the lid, set that near me. If you notice, the paints are laying down sideways in the tray, so you have to screw the lid back on when you're done using it. I do not need to squeeze this bottle hardly at all. I'm just going to turn it over and let gravity take over, and I want to aim for that paper circle. Okay, so one dot of ink is all that's needed. Now I'm going to twist this lid back on tight so that when it's laying down, it's not leaking inks in the tray. Now I can take the end of my brush and slowly pull the water into the color. So if you can see in the camera, it's lighter in this corner. That's the clear water color. When I do my pulling, I want to use a slow motion. I do not want to stir it as fast as I can, because then you're not going to see the marble effect as well. And once the ink is on here, you can't take it away. So the ink is there, and you just have to work with what you have because we're not wasting art supplies. All right, so now that I can see it's starting to swirl, I'm going to decide if I want any more colors. If I leave it like this, it's going to end up blue and then this beige color with the marble. Or I could add another color to it. So I'm going to put a green in here. I'm going to aim for that paper circle, just one dot. That's it. And then I put the cap back on, twist it tight to lay it in that tray. I'm going to use the handle of the brush, not the bristles. If I use the bristles, then the ink is going to get stuck in the bristles. And now I'm going to slowly pull my ink. And I'm going to watch it marble. I'm not doing fast motions. I'm not picking up the container and shaking it. I'm letting the handle do the marbling for me. Okay, so I'm going to do one more color just so you can see it easier on the camera. I'm going to do a yellow dot. Now, if it starts getting really like gooey when you screw the cap back on, just use your paper towel and wipe the extra off. All right, so now I'm going to pull this yellow because you'll be able to see the marble easier on the camera screen. Okay, so now when I like the look of this marble, I'm going to do my printing. So I need to pull out this paper circle and set it on the lid, and then I'm going to set my paintbrush on the lid. Then I'm going to take this square piece of paper and I'm going to lay it on the top of the water until that paper looks entirely wet. If there's some spots that didn't get wet, just use your finger and kind of push it down. Then you have wooden boards next to your printing station. You're using the Sharpie marker to write your name on the tape, and then you're going to pick this paper up off the tray. You can see that it now is printed with the design of the colors that you chose, and you're going to set that on the board where your name is. Then you may do a second print. So you're going to take this container, dump it out in the sink. You're going to start the whole process over. Fill the cup half full, dump it in the container, get your paper circle floating on the surface, one dot of color on the circle. Use the end of your brush to slowly spiral it or marble it. Then you will have enough space on this same board to put a second marble print on that board. Then listen to directions with where I tell you to place this board at cleanup. When you're done printing, you're going to remove the circle paper, put your handle of your brush on the lid, empty out your container, and then return that to your station. All these lids should be screwed on tight and laying in the container for the next student to work.